association with the modes of ignorance. That's an interesting topic. And then, of course, we have Sati and her qualities, which are also extraordinary in many different ways. And now Shiva, he has come onto the scene himself for the second time in this Leela. And we've seen his qualities manifesting. And then we see, of course, the conclusion of Daksha's situation. Extraordinary Leela. But now we're going to be hearing some of Brahma's words, and then we're going to read one purport and try to elaborate on the topic of that purport. So, I'm going to we're going to read from 50, 51, 52, and then can we chant 53 together, or because 53 has a purport and the other verses don't. Okay? So it's okay. I can read it. 53. This is 50. So I'll read 50, 51, 52, and 53. Is that okay? So I'll just read these, and then when I get to the, no, that's okay. And you can read along with me, and then we will get to 53, right? Because if I go down, I know how to use this thing. This is all I do, is work with computers all day. So, Kurvadharasyo dharanam hatasya bho tvayas. I'm just going to do it myself, go through it, and then we'll do together 53. Tvayasamaptasya mano prachapate yatra bhagam tavabhagino dadu kuyajino yena makona niyate. So the translation of this verse by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. My dear Lord Shiva, you are a shareholder of a portion of the sacrifice, and you are the giver of the result. The bad priests, the bad kuyajina, that is in the synonyms, the word is kuyajina. The kuyajina did not deliver your share, and therefore you destroyed everything, and the sacrifice remains unfinished. Now, you can do the needful and take your rightful share. Okay, now where is the cursor here? It's not showing up. Okay, yeah. Where's the cursor? Oh, there it is. Okay. Jivatad yajamano yam pravadye takshini bhaga brigos masruni rohantu pushno dhantascha purvavat. Translation. My dear Lord, by your mercy, the performer of the sacrifice, King Daksha, may get back his life. Bhaga may get back his eyes. Brigu, his mustache. And Pusha, his teeth. Devanam bhagna gatranam ritvijam cha yudhashmabihi Bhavatanugrihi dhanam ashumanyostva naturam. O Lord Shiva, may the demigods and the priests whose limbs have been broken by your soldiers recover from the injuries by your grace. I keep losing. There it is. Okay. There we go. Aishate Rudra Bhagostu. No, this is the one we're going to do together, okay? Eshate Rudra Bhagostu Yaduchishto Dharasya Yagyaste Rudra Bhagena Kalpatamadhya Yagyahan. Now pardon me that I don't chant in proper meters, and anyway, when you start chanting it, one of you knows the right way, you can do that. I'm too, anyway. Eshate Rudra Bhagostu Yaruchishto Dharasya Yagyaste Rudra Bhagena Kalpatamadhya Yagyahan. Others? Eshate Rudra Bhagostu Yaruchisto Dvarasya Vai Yagyaste Rudra Bhagena Kalpatamadhya Yagyahan. Eshate Rudra Bhagostu Yaruchisto Dvarasya Vai Kalpatamadhya Yagyahan. Lady? Eshate Rudra Bhagostu Yaruchisto Dharasya Vai Yagyaste Rudra Bhagena Kalpatamadhya Yagyahan. Lady? Oh, go ahead. Yagyaste Rudra Bhagena Kalpatamadhya Yagyahan. Ladies? Eshate Rudra Bhagostu Yaruchisto Dharasya Vai Yagyaste Rudra Bhagena Kalpatamadhya Yagyahan. Eshate Rudra Bhagostu Yaruchisto Dvarasya Vai Kalpatamadhya Yagyahan. Eshate Rudra Bhagostu Yaruchisto Dvarasya Vai Yagyaste Rudra Bhagena Kalpatamadhya Yagyahan. Synonyms. Eshaha, this, te, your, Rudra, O Lord Shiva, Bhagaha, portion, Astu, let it be, Yat, whatever, Uchistaha is the remainder, Advarasya of the sacrifice, Bhai indeed, Yagyaha the sacrifice, Te your, Rudra, O Rudra, Bhagena by the portion, Kalpatam may be completed. Adya, today, Yagyahan, O destroyer of the sacrifice. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. O destroyer of the sacrifice, please take your portion of the sacrifice and let the sacrifice be completed by your grace. Purport. A sacrifice is a ceremony performed to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Srimad Bhagwatam, 1st canto, 2nd chapter, it is stated that everyone should try to understand whether the Supreme Personality of Godhead is satisfied by his activity. In other words, the aim of our activities should be to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just as in an office, it is the duty of the worker to see that the proprietor or the master is satisfied. So everyone's duty is to see whether the Supreme Personality of Godhead is satisfied by one's activity. Activities to satisfy the Supreme Godhead are prescribed in the Vedic literature, and execution of such activities is called yajna. In other words, acting on behalf of the Supreme Lord is called yajna. One should know very well that any activity besides yajna is the cause of material bondage. That is explained in Bhagavad Gita. Jagyartat karmanonyatra loko yam karma bandhanaha. Karma bandhana means that if we do not work for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord Vishnu, then the reaction of our work will bind us. One should not work for his own sense gratification. Everyone should work for the satisfaction of God. That is called yajna. After the yajna was performed by Daksha, all the demigods expect Vishnu. Lord Shiva is one of the demigods, so naturally he also expected his share of the prasad from the yajna. But Daksha, out of his envy of Lord Shiva, neither invited Shiva to participate in the yajna, nor gave him his share after the offering. But after the destruction of the yajna arena by the followers of Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma pacified him and assured him that he would get his share of prasad. Thus, he was requested to rectify whatever destruction was caused by his followers. In Bhagavad Gita 3:11, it is said that all the demigods are satisfied when one performs yajna. Because the demigods expect prasad from yajnas, yajna must be performed. Those who engage in sense gratificatory materialistic activities must perform yajna. Otherwise they will be implicated. Thus, Daksha, being the father of mankind, was performing yajna, and Lord Shiva expected his share. But since Shiva was not invited, there was trouble. By the mediation of Lord Brahma, however, everything was settled satisfactorily. The performance of yajna is a very difficult task because all the demigods must be invited to participate in the yajna. In this Kali Yuga, it is not possible to perform such costly sacrifices, nor is it possible to invite the demigods to participate. Therefore, in this age, it is recommended Jagyai Sankirtana Prayar Yajantihi Sumedashaha from the Bhagwatam 11:5-32. Those who are intelligent should know that in the Kali Yuga, there is no possibility of performing the Vedic sacrifices. But unless one pleases the demigods, there will be no regulated seasonal activities or rainfall. Everything is controlled by the demigods. Under the circumstances, in this age, in order to keep the balance of social peace and prosperity, all intelligent men should execute the performance of Sankirtana Yajna by chanting the holy names Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One should invite people, chant Hare Krishna, and then distribute prasad. This yajna will satisfy all the demigods, and thus there will be peace and prosperity in the world. Another difficulty in performing the Vedic rituals is that if one fails to satisfy even one demigod out of the many hundreds of thousands of demigods, just as Daksha failed to satisfy Lord Shiva, there will be disaster. But in this age, the performance of sacrifice has been simplified. One can chant Hare Krishna! And by pleasing Krishna, one can satisfy all the demigods automatically. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 4th canto, 6th chapter of the Srimad Bhagwatam, entitled Brahma Satisfies Lord Shiva. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Shiva, Brahma, Agni, Surya, Indra. They're happy. They're all happy now. They're everywhere present. All these devas. We have such little idea of the world we live in. With our limited senses, we look around and we see some trees and these buildings and so on. We don't see. Everywhere. Throughout this universe, there are these incredibly powerful living beings. Some of you are in IT, right? Anyone here working in artificial intelligence and AI? Yeah? Anyone working in AI? But how many here are in IT? You're living in Gurugram, so many of you are in the IT field. So, artificial intelligence. Now, the coders and programmers, they are working and building programs that program themselves, that keep programming themselves to be better, and then they become better and better, and now they're thinking these things, this software is going to expand and become so intelligent. It'll understand everything and solve all our problems. But there's a real intelligence far beyond what we can imagine from machines. including the machine on this one up here. There's a machine. We're all carrying a big machine up in here. We're living in a machine. Yancha rudhani maya ya. Ramayana. We're wandering around, seated on a machine. And this machine has a big computer inside. A computer which is still actually more powerful in terms of its capabilities than anything the programmers have come up with. I'm personally also in IT. My service in ISKCON is mostly in a project called ISKCON Online. And we are developing websites and other systems for spreading Krishna consciousness. And our main website right now is called chantnow.com. You can check it all out. Okay? Chantnow.com. And we're just, last night you met Rasal was at our house, at your house. He's helping us develop chantnow.in. Okay? So we hope to have a Hindi version within the year. So please check it out, chantnow.in. Hare Krishna. So anyway, there is everyone experiences that there is an intelligence greater than themselves around us. There's a Hare Krishna. There is so many higher and higher levels of intelligence. And between us and, of course, Krishna, the supreme intelligence, in our universe there are these incredibly intelligent. Now, I have to admit that my intelligence cannot grasp the nature of devatas. I cannot relate how a jiva like me can control wind, who can reside within fire. There's what, 30 crore, 300 million or something of these devatas in various hierarchies. There's the top ones and the next tier and the next tier. I mean, it's like the city of Delhi or the NCR. I was asking somebody today, what was the population? Anybody know what's the population of NCR right now?
More than 2 crore. More than 2 crore.
No. More than 2 crores, maybe 3 crores? NCR total around 5 crores. Okay, so take the population of NCR, multiply it by 6, and you've got the population of these devatas in this universe, and they're somehow running everything. All that we think we're running stuff. We think that we're moving our hands and so on, but we're not doing this. We're actually not doing. And I can testify. I had a disease, and some part of my machine got broken, and now this doesn't work so well. We've all had experience where the machines don't work. We can't personally, okay, I am now, what's the connection? Somehow we want to do something, there's some desire, and that this happens. Therefore, what is it in Bhagavad Gita? Ahankar vibhudatma kartaham iti manyate. How does it begin? Prakriti kriyamanani, prakriti kriyamanani, gunai kamani sarvasha. Ahankar vimudhatma kartaham, I'm doing iti manyate. We think we're doing what's actually being done by the modes of nature. But it is being done on our desire, so therefore, in a higher sense, we are the doers. Jiva Goswami explains that if we weren't the doers, we weren't the karta, then what would be the meaning of karma? We could not be held responsible. So from a certain point of view, we are karta, we are the doers in the field of activity. But the actual functions are being carried out by Prakriti and the gunas. And then the devata, by performance of this jagya, everything will be fine. And of course you should remember, Bhoktaram jagya tapasam, sarvaloka maheshwaram, suradam sarvabhutana, yatamam shanti nishchati. That if you know this, if you know that I am ultimately the enjoyer of all this sacrifice, and all your tapasya, that I am the Lord of everyone, and I'm your best friend, Suradam, Sarvabhutanam, of everyone, you can be very peaceful, prosperous. That is, Prabhupada ends this purport, says that this jagya will satisfy all the demigods, and thus there will be peace and prosperity in the world. We can enjoy if we want. And that is, actually, Krishna has created this world. He's set it up, he's manifested it for us jivas who want to have our own field of enjoyment. So, all right. Here you go. Here's a world for you. In another purport, Prabhupada describes it is like a playground for us little children who we want to play. So he's given us a playground. But there are a few rules, a few ways to make things work. And jagya is the essence. Jagya is the foundational principle for us. And Prabhupada gives a very interesting, very appropriate example how we should understand this. Is just like working in and I think many of you are working in companies. So you have bosses, right? You have superiors, and they have superiors, and then ultimately and then finally there's the shareholders. Who ultimately own the companies. And some of them are, big businessmen or whatever. So when you work in the company, you have to satisfy the proprietors. So similarly, when we do jagya, because that is our duty. We have a duty to do these jagyas, to satisfy the proprietors at various levels. But now we're in the Kali Yuga. We don't know how to do jagya to begin with. We don't have the mental capacity. And we certainly don't have the resources, most of us. This whole Leela centered around Daksha's jagya. Not many different jagyas. It begins with a jagya that Shiva is present for. Shiva shows up as he normally would do for jagya. And Daksha begins to berate him and insult him, saying, I gave my daughter to you just because of Brahma. Brahma is my master, so I had to do it. But dirty, goes. He just kept on insulting him. Shiva held his peace and just left. And Daksha proudly goes forth and does his jagyas and this jagya and that jagya, neglecting, ignoring Shiva. And Sati, this is that really big jagya is going to happen. And jagyas in those, like we are hearing, and why we can't do this now, is you have to be able to put on such a show. You have to put on such an elaborate arrangement that the devas themselves will come. Of course, you also have to be able to invite them. It means you have to have their phone numbers, right? Or their emails. How do you invite? Of course, there are mantras, and the Vedas, they describe all the mantras in order to do all of this. But the arrangements are so elaborate. And of course, it's a festival as well. So the ladies dress up, and everyone is, it's a huge arrangement. We cannot do this. We don't have the resources, and we don't have the science of connection with the devas of this universe to make these jagyas successful. And what to speak of our overwhelming tendency in this age to put everything around ourselves. The jagyas prescribed by Krishna, although they provided, and they can provide all material prosperity, their aim is to satisfy Krishna, to satisfy the Lord. Daksha got a little off track here, thinking he was the great. We do it for our own pleasure. We're living in the age of individually centered life. So, therefore, Krishna Varnam Pisha Krishnam Pango Sangashta Parshadam Jagyai Sankirtana Prayer Yajantihi Sumedashaha. In this age, Krishna comes. Krishna Varna Trisha Krishna. He comes Krishna Varna. Krishna Varna can be understood in different ways. Krishna Varna, one who extols the qualities of Krishna. Krishna Varna, one who has the qualities of Krishna, but is akrishna, without the color Krishna. Krishna Varna Trisha Krishnam Sangha Pangastra Parshadam. Krishna comes with his associates and with his astra. What is the astra of Krishna when he comes here? As Gauranga. 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 What is the astra of Gauranga? That comes next. Who? His beauty. His beauty. Although he does not play the flute, he's not surrounded by gopis, he still has the extraordinary beauty of Krishna. Such beauty. Yesterday we were at Krishna Balaram Mandir, and my godbrother Abhiram was speaking on the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagwatam. And anyway, there were no purports to the verses that he was reading, so he turned to the teachings of Lord Chaitanya and read to us a chapter that is describing where Mahaprabhu, Gauranga, is describing the beauty of Krishna. And there, in that writing, it's explained that Krishna's beauty belongs to him. Even Narayana does not have the ultimate beauty that Krishna has. So Gauranga, golden-limbed Gauranga, comes with his astra of beauty and his parshadam, his associates, Nityananda Prabhu, Sri Advaita, Gadadhar, and Srivas, Adi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, and all other Gaura Bhaktas. To do what? To give us the Jagya for this age. Jagyai Sankirtana Prayaya, Yajantihi Sumedasha. Those who are actually really intelligent. Not AI intelligent, not computer intelligent, not programmer intelligent, or biology or biochemistry or whatever, science intelligent, or politically intelligent, or managerially intelligent. Therefore, this intelligence, we should understand, is not gender specific. Sometimes we get into the relative intelligence of men and women. But this intelligence, this Sumedasha, that's the intelligence of the soul. That is spiritual intelligence. That is true intelligence. So the true intelligence, the sign of real intelligence, Srila Prabhupada points out, is to take up the Sankirtan Jagya. That means that you're really smart, because you're going to the top. You're taking the actual solution. You're not, you're faced with like now in Gurgaon, we have so many big high buildings. And I'm sure by law they have to have staircases. So you might live on the 25th floor, and you could take the staircase, right? There must be a staircase, because if the elevator doesn't work, you have to be able to get out. But to take the lift is smarter, isn't it? Of course, if you need exercise. My wife and I were leaving tonight to return to New York, where we serve, especially during the summer months of India. We go and we serve in the Radha Govinda Mandir. And our elevator there has been broken for the last 20 years or more. I don't know how long it's been broken. So we get exercise because we have to walk up to the 4th floor or the 5th floor where we live. So it's good. It's good. Get a little exercise. I mean, for us, we have, we get to exercise, especially in kirtan too. I mean, kirtan is so smart because it not only gives us the jagya that satisfies Krishna, but it also gives us so much energy and This is the beauty of Sankirtan. That we can take this beautiful bhakti yoga and bring everything into it. Bring our work into it. Because that is also part of jagya. Just like we are working in the offices and so on, we have to please the Lord of the office, by our work. Krishna says, Bhoktaram Jagat Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. I'm actually the owner of everything. So we have to satisfy him by our work. He said, Varnashrama Charavata Vishnuradhanam. That by our work, we have to satisfy Vishnu. So you all who are working wherever you're working, if you're working within the ISKCON society or you're working in some other place, you have to be thinking, how can my work satisfy Krishna? How can I do my work in a way that Krishna will be pleased? That should be your meditation. And how can I offer the results of my work to Krishna? How can I make all my work a contribution to the jagya, the Sankirtan jagya of this age? So, Srila Prabhupada has so kindly brought this Sankirtan jagya to all corners of the world now. Pitti vitte ache jatana agaradi gram sarvatra prachar hoibe morana. He has taken this Sankirtan jagya and brought it everywhere. And here in Gurugram, you can, as you are, continue to spread this Sankirtan. Continue to invite people. Come, do kirtan. Join us in this jagya. Get not only the fruits. Our host, Narmada, was describing how the first time he chanted japa, he just said, okay, maybe someone invited him to the temple and they said, to chant around. Well, no harm, right? It's more or less like that, Okay, let me do it. He chanted one round of japa. Correct me, is it okay if I tell you what you... So he said he chanted one round of japa and came out of the temple and got a call. This is the HR of such and such company, and I'm just very glad to inform you that you're top on our list, and we're calling you for the final arrangements. And he thought, one round of japa? I'm in the temple. Krishna must, yes, okay. Maybe this is the jagya I should be doing. And gradually now you can see, he's Narmada Jivana, right? So yeah, we take this jagya and it will take care of everything, somehow or other. Sometimes it may not appear to them, and he also told us stories about other times of his life which were very, very difficult, really difficult. And yet, the chanting of the holy names of Krishna was able to carry him through all those difficulties. And when he looks back now, he says, that was actually wonderful. Because the holy names gave me such strength and sometimes inspiration. We were speaking about AI, and I want to look this up because there's one thing that we also get, and we have. We have intelligence like machines. We have computers in our brains, and they can calculate. But there's also a factor called inspiration. inspiration. We don't know where it comes from. Well, scientifically, right? We know where it comes from. We know it's coming from Krishna. We know it's coming from Paramatma. We know that the supreme intelligence is residing within all of us and is able to give us everything we need through inspiration. There's no inspiration in AI. Just algorithms. Just algorithms. We have inspiration because we're jivas, all of us. We're all jivatmas. And we're sitting in these bodies with our best friend just next to us. We don't recognize him because we're so absorbed in the world. But he's with us. And when we chant his names, he hears. Especially as we chant in the mood and the attitude that Srila Prabhupada asked us, like a child crying for his mother. We should chant the holy names of Krishna as our jagya, as our needs. I don't have demigods on my phone line. But I have my voice and I have my heart. With my heart, Hrid Bhag Vapu Bhir, with my heart, with my words, with my body, let me offer you this, Krishna. Let me do this jagya. Chant your holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sankirtan Jagya ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samapeta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Srimad Bhagwatam ki jai. I think I went over time, but I don't know who's. It's up to you. I don't know if there are some comments, reflections, or questions.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for coming to Gurgaon. So we have been watching your dramas in Bhagwatam.
Oh.
So from that I see you doing so many.
You're invited to join me.
It's a pleasure to be with you. So whenever we think of being with you, then we think of Prabhupada. So can you also share your remembrance with Srila Prabhupada, your experiences, your relationship with your past times?
Well, there's one that is kind of connected to this today's topic. How many of you have seen the black and white videos of Srila Prabhupada's lectures? You see? So, I was in the New York Temple in 1972, and I had many different services, but one of them was I was involved with the communications and media and so on. And at the time, there was a facility provided by the public television stations of New York and all over the country, what they call public access television. So this was a specific channel where you could produce your material, you could go to the station and they would put it on. Right? And very few people watched it, but you could do it. So I thought, I'm going to make video for, my wonderful mother was very generous, and she donated the money to buy portable video equipment. So I have this, this right here now has about 100 times the power of what I had in a box this big and it's camera like this. So Prabhupada came and I set it up and to record my first recording of Srila Prabhupada on video. And it was really wonderful for me because Srila Prabhupada had on occasion expressed annoyance at cameras because they make a click, click, click sound, right? And movie cameras also. There's a noise that comes from these cameras. But the video was a tape. It was a reel-to-reel tape. So the video was getting recorded on tape, which was silent. So I could just sit there and, Prabhupada would not be disturbed at all. So I was sitting behind my camera and watching Prabhupada. And I did what I later learned that videographers shouldn't do. I kept zooming in, catching his eyes and, trying to catch his hands in motion. And I was really enjoying. This particular day, unfortunately, I think this tape is, or at least this part of the tape is gone. But Prabhupada used to have kirtan after class as well. Later that practice diminished, but in the early days there would be kirtan before and there would be kirtan after. So kirtan began after he gave his talk, and there was a devotee leading the kirtan, and at one point Srila Prabhupada was playing his gong, I think, and he began leading. He took over the leading of the kirtan, which he might do on occasions. And of course the devotees responded so enthusiastically, and I was taping. So then after later in the morning, I was able to come and bring this tape and show Srila Prabhupada, look, it's new technology. I've been in technology, you can see, I've been in technology from, always fascinated. One of my Shiksha gurus is Sridhar Swami. You know Sridhar Swami? Any of you met him? He was also sometimes known as the gadget guru because he really was into technology. How can we use technology? So I've also had that proclivity. So he's watching. I've set it up on his desk in New York, and he's watching. And what struck me is that when it came to, I think I can't remember exactly if I fast forwarded or whatever, but when it came to the places where he was leading the kirtan, I watched as he was watching it, and he just began chanting and clapping his hands with the kirtan. And I got this sense that he wasn't concerned that I'm on the video and look at me, and he just was taken by the holy names. That's what he was inspired by the holy names of Krishna, and he just kept chanting. You or I might be watching and kind of, that's me, But I got this sense of no ego, but just surrender to the holy names of Krishna. There are many recollections, memories that devotees have had about Srila Prabhupada's relationship with Sankirtan, with the chanting of the holy names of Krishna. How surrendered he was to that Kirtan process. Without ego. That is how we must approach the holy names of Krishna. As servants offering Krishna and trying to experience his presence. So that was one story. Okay, thank you. Yes. I didn't quite hear, but what I was trying to, what I believe you're asking is that when we try to preach online, that we have to perhaps engage in a bit of self-promotion. Is that what you're talking about? We don't want to promote ourselves. We're all trying to Chanarapi sunichena tarorapi sunishana amanina manadena. That's our mood. Should be our mood. But that doesn't work online. You have to be a star if you want to get followers. That's the way that world works. There's one up-and-coming star I've been watching a little bit. I can't, she speaks in Hindi, so I don't really understand her so well. Maybe some of you have seen, I think her name is Janava Sundari on Instagram. Eternal Freedom, Eternal Journey. Any of you have seen her? Janava Sundari. She is a young lady, I think from Mumbai or something. She went from, she's only been doing this for maybe a year or a little longer, and she's gone, when I first discovered her, she had like already 80,000 followers on Instagram. And a month later, she has 180,000. She is a graduate in mass communication, so she knows a little bit about, how to, but it's basically her personality. Of course, she doesn't come off as proud. I mean, I'm not saying that you should, stand up there and, but you do have to succeed, to draw attention to yourself, you have to be a little, self-promotional. So there's a risk in that. You have to really keep, like we have a wonderful kirtanir, Gauramani, who has attracted a huge following. And, she's out there. She lets the camera go right on her, right? It's Janava Sundari, that's her, it's her face. So one might think, oh, wait a minute, I'm drawing attention to myself. But if we use this talent, because this works when you have some talent. If you have no talent, then, better be in the background. But if you have some talent, you have some ability, some charisma, so to speak, that you can use to attract people to the message of Krishna, do it. But be careful. that it doesn't go to your head and think, this is me. Krishna says, I am the ability in man. We should always remember that. Does that answer your question? Okay. And I don't know, timing. I have no agenda, so I can sit here. Can we? We're okay, Adita? For a little, not forever. We do have to catch a plane. No, but our plane's not till 7 o'clock, so we have another 15 minutes maybe at most. Yeah.
Thank you so much for this giving us session. So my simple question is, as you were discussing about the demigods, as you should not try to please them, you should not perform activities and sacrifices to please demigods. But after that, you have mentioned it is the fact that demigods are also trying to satisfy and please Krishna. So it's not harm to please demigods also, because ultimately those sacrifices are also going to Krishna. As in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is also denying to satisfy them directly, because they are mentioned that those people are but with another analogy, it's not bad to satisfy demigods also, because they are also we should see them like the Vaishnavas, like Surya Deva as a Vaishnava.
That's right. Yeah, you have it perfectly. How our approach is that we also, like you say, they must be respected. These, this is not. These are not ordinary, run of the mill. These are the devas. They are due all respect, and we offer them Krishna Prasad. We offer them the prasadam of the Lord. So that is how we offer. We ask them to assist us in our service to Krishna. My wife is an astrologer, so she sometimes meets people whose Sani Dev is placed in a certain way in their lives, and she tells them, you should chant Shani's prayers to Nishringa. Shani has composed a whole stuti, I think, what is it? Shani stuti, something like that? Narasimha stuti. Anyway, it's online, you can find it. And he just glorifies Nrsimhadev. And by assisting Shanidev in glorifying Nrsimha, Shanidev is pleased. So in this way, we can honor, respect, and satisfy and engage in our own home for various reasons. Mahadev came to us, and we had a Mahadev statue made for some purposes, but then we thought, he's here. So he gets, every day he gets prasad from Gaur-Nitai and Nrsimhadev, and he's happy. So that is how we must respect. That is the first, second offense to the holy name. We think that we often hear it's an offense to consider the names of the demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. So it's an offense to think that they're on the same level as Vishnu, but it's also an offense to think that they're over here and to be disregarded and we have nothing to do with them. That's also an offense to the holy name of Krishna. So we must respect the devas. Does that answer your question? Yes.
Last year's 50th anniversary very amazed how you were recounting the different stories. I remember two stories in particular. One about that it took 3 days to connect the phone.
Yes.
And that instance where you were telling about a devotee who used to jump into the Jalanami and swim all the way down to the other side.
Yes,
Very
yeah.
interesting. And I was amazed how vivid your memory is. So that means that you have lived those experiences very clearly. So Prabhu is very near. That very inspiring. I have one small question. So Prabhu, in this sloka and in the Bhagavad, it is mentioned that Shiva had ransacked the Yajna because he did not get his share. But in the previous verses, in the previous chapter, we heard that Shiva is an epitome of tolerance and that it was on him, he did not get offended. But when it was on Sati, then he really calculated and ransacked the Yajna. So I'm not able to.
Okay, so. Yeah, the whole system, I mean, what happens in these leelas is many things come together. So yes, we know from the first time that Daksha insulted Shiva, Shiva was tolerant, he went. Herself, that this was too much for Shiva and he comes to teach Daksha a lesson. What Prabhupada actually says here is that because of Daksha's actions, there was trouble. So because of Daksha, he doesn't actually say that, that Shiva responded. I don't think the verse says that. Let me just check here. No. So I think what you're referring to is this paragraph that says, but Daksha, out of his envy of Lord Shiva, no, where is it? Okay. But since, yes, thus Daksha, being the father of mankind, was performing Yajna, and Lord Shiva expected his share. But since Shiva was not invited, there was trouble. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. So, the trouble, yes. Daksha's activities of not inviting Lord Shiva created trouble. But Shiva's own response is not so clear here. We know from the first incident that Shiva's response was to walk away, to leave. We also know from the interaction between Shiva and Sati that his response was to just ignore Daksha. So it seems that from these we can understand that Shiva personally was not attached. It only was when Sati immolated herself that he got involved. But at the same time, Shiva has his role to play. He has his relationship with the affairs of Yajna, and it is in his natural relationship to expect what should naturally happen. In this particular case, from what we've read, we can see that, he's not, but we do know that Shiva is, Ashutosh, and he's easily pleased, but he's also easily angered. So that also is an element. But I can't get too far into the mind of Lord Shiva, because I am entirely unqualified. I think we should end here. It's 9:20, and I want to thank you for everything. Right, and this is about time. Thank you very, very much. I look forward to seeing more of this. We just came in for darshan, so we haven't really seen much. But I do have to compliment everyone involved in this, particularly